can answer as well. But I wanted to know for you, Jamie, how was it working on this film as a woman, particularly and talking to the strippers? And like you said, they are a lot of very intelligent women who are very athletic and have all of these skills, but they're kind of being forced to submit themselves to an environment that objectifies them in a way. Like I remember in watching it, a lot of them talked about how the men wouldn't have boundaries. Some of them would touch them and feel like just because they're showing their bodies that that's giving them permission to do whatever they want. They had to protect themselves against perverts. So it's kind of, there's a lot of power there, like you talked about, but it also seems like it's just trying to subvert those women to being objects and stripping away their power for people who really just see them as something there for them.
I have to say, I don't necessarily feel that way. It's a dangerous dance for sure. I mean, you're dancing fully nude in front of patrons who are drinking. But they go to great lengths at the club to keep everyone as safe as they could possibly be. I think the danger came when you would leave the club with lots of money. I mean, that was more of a dangerous evening than while in the club. While you're in the club, it is very much, there are rules, there are regulations, there are things that everyone must adhere to. And I also, no one is forced to dance there. These are girls who are, yes, looking, some to help their circumstances in life, some to check it out, to see what that would feel like to kind of be naked in front of people in that way. But the women had such agency in the way that music was played in that club, music was discovered in that club, because when many of the musicians, young hip hop artists and rappers would come with their mixtapes to give to the DJ, if the DJ was even looking at them, he would play it. If those dancers were like, I'm not grooving to this. I'm not moving to this. He'd have to give that mixtape back to T.I., a young T.I. or a young 2 Chainz and say, keep trying. Not working for the ladies. So there's a real synergy in that club of people and their jobs, and they know their roles and they know how it works. So I didn't find that anyone felt that they were there under false pretense. Um, but yes, are there stories of people who have come from not a lot, and this is where they're at this point in their life where they can make money? Absolutely. But this club is really a place that they call home for the time they're there. And often Mr. Magic and Juju and Little Madge have to say, like, it's time for you. You have to think of your next plan. Because you've danced here for 10 years. It's time. And many of the women talked about how they miss that time in their life, what it meant to them that time in their life, how it saved them in that time of their life. So I saw a lot of really thoughtful young women and older women who have been there that have very powerful stories. And Chaz and Cole really took pains to listen, always.
For me, as I was watching it, one of the things I was thinking about was my issue is not with the women themselves. Like has been reiterated. They're very talented women. They're very beautiful, skilled, all of these things. My issue really is I guess I kind of feel like there is a funneling of taking women who are skilled and talented and smart and putting them in positions either by their choice or because they don't have other means. Like a lot of the women were paying for their schooling in Spelman and other things. They had to build their businesses off of this. And, there was one woman, as I was watching it, she was talking about how she had to get into other things and then she had a regular job she didn't like. having a paycheck. And one of the things that I notice about the society is there tends to be a tendency to take women who are all of these things, all of these great things, and sort of funnel them into some sort of position where they are used for sexual gratification of other people. And so I don't know. I guess I see what everyone is saying about the power that's there, about how they have, like the DJs would only play the music if the girls were feeling it, and all of these things. And still, to me, it just seems like yes, all of that is true. They had all this power, they have all these skills, but they're still being subjected to, I don't know, kind of being these objects for people who, I mean, listening to some of the women talk, I mean, some of these guys are really disgusting. Not all of them, but I mean, it's just, and disrespectful. So I don't know. I guess I want to know what you feel like people should really take from this and think about it on either side of that spectrum.
Can, can I quickly I imagine we all have a view on that. I'm going to quickly jump in and then please jump in. My quick answer on that is just that like this is complicated. And I don't think that the response that you're having right now, you will not be the only person that feels that way. And that's to be expected. I mean, there's a lot of people, some of whom are in my very own family, who are like, wait a second, Cole, I hear you. But all of this is kind of icky, right? And like, I think that's a valid perspective. I think that what we chose to embrace, what I chose to embrace when I think about this very complicated, complex question is just what these women who have experienced the thing are telling me. And all I can go by is like what white chocolate tells me about the experience that she had in this place. And and white chocolate and Gigi and OG and all of these people talk about this as one of the greatest accomplishments they've had in their lives. And have wielded every bit of agency when making that choice. So
I
that's
guess,
what I choose to, to think about. I want to get out of the way because I know Chaz has a view and I'm sure Jamie does as well.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I first of all, I like it's the most important thing to say is like your feelings are valid and heard, and I wouldn't want you to think that like just because the conversation thus far has been in adverse or in contrast to how you're feeling, that means your feelings are invalid. Like to be honest with you, everything you're saying is a conversation that we want to have with this documentary, right? So like when you're hearing the story, so the dancer you're referring to, the woman you're referring to, her name is OG India. There's also a moment where a dancer by the name of Rain talks about how, I stepped into the club and a guy's touching on me and I said, hey, you can't do that. And then he says, oh, I can do whatever I want. And then we have a cultural critic by the name of Lene, who's like, dancers are placed into this highly sexualized environment where they have to consider themselves both subject and object moment by moment. So the complexity that Cole is talking about, the conversations that those women are having with each other in that episode, that is a part of the story. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't feel, as a documentary filmmaker, I wouldn't feel in good conscience removing that from the episode and letting everything be all rosy and perfect and glitzy. Like the challenge of this is to put everything front and center and let people have meaningful dialogue about what is actually happening here. Is it empowerment? Is it something else? Is it somewhere in between? But giving everyone, the dancers included, yourself included, the space to have that conversation.
okay, thank you. And I guess for me, I would feel a bit differently, or I guess my question or my concern is I didn't really see as many women on the power side of the business in terms of they're the ones running, the business. They're the ones who are building this and deciding. So I guess it's just that sort of power imbalance there. Like I know that they do have a lot of power in this, but they're still employees. They're not the ones running the business itself. And so I kind of feel like there was just this, but it's interesting. It's interesting. And I do think that there's a thing of, you know, in terms of respecting the women who do it, I think that that's very important because I kind of feel like it's very unfair to subject them to being looked down upon and things like that. Because I mean, if there wasn't an avenue for this, they wouldn't be there. Like, you know, there's other people who are involved in this. And so I don't really think that it's fair to look down upon them. But yeah, I guess I wanted to see the power dynamic be a little